Most people spend their lives running from discomfort. They want the easy path, the comfortable choice, the version of life that asks the least from them. But what if the very thing you're avoiding is the thing that could transform you? What if being hard on yourself isn't punishment, but a gift? Think about it. Every time you let yourself off the hook, every time you say, "It's okay, I'll do it tomorrow," every time you choose comfort over growth, you're not protecting yourself, you're limiting yourself. You're building a smaller version of who you could become. Being hard on yourself doesn't mean hating yourself. It doesn't mean tearing yourself down or living in constant criticism. It means holding yourself to a higher standard. It means refusing to accept excuses from the one person who controls your life, you. There's a difference between destructive self-criticism and constructive discipline. One breaks you down, the other builds you up. One tells you you're not good enough. The other tells you that you can be better, and expects you to prove it. The truth is, nobody cares about your potential. The world doesn't reward what you could do. It rewards what you actually do. And the only person responsible for closing that gap is you. When you're hard on yourself, you stop settling. You stop saying, "This is good enough," when deep down you know it's not. You push for that extra rep, that extra hour, that extra level of focus when everyone else would quit. And that's where the separation begins. Because success is rarely about talent. It's about standards. It's about what you demand from yourself when nobody's watching. It's about whether you choose discipline over distraction, effort over excuses, growth over comfort. Look at the people who achieve greatness. They're not always the smartest. They're not always the most gifted. But they are relentless. They are demanding. They expect more from themselves than anyone else ever could. They wake up early when they don't feel like it. They work when they're tired. They keep going when motivation disappears. Why? Because they don't negotiate with their feelings. They don't lower their standards to match their mood. And that's the gift of being hard on yourself. It teaches you to operate beyond emotion. It teaches you that your feelings don't control your actions, your decisions do. There will be days when you don't feel confident. Days when you don't feel ready. Days when everything inside you is telling you to stop. But being hard on yourself means you move forward anyway. It means you say, "I don't care how I feel today. I made a commitment, and I'm going to keep it." That kind of mindset changes everything. Because once you stop relying on motivation, you become unstoppable. You're no longer at the mercy of your emotions. You become consistent. And consistency is where real results come from. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think being hard on themselves is about perfection. It's not. It's about progress. You're going to fail. You're going to mess up. You're going to have moments where you fall short. Being hard on yourself doesn't mean you punish yourself for those moments. It means you don't stay there. It means you look at your failure honestly. You don't sugarcoat it. You don't make excuses. You say, "That wasn't good enough. I can do better." And then you actually go and do better. That's growth. That's accountability. That's power. Because when you take full responsibility for your life, you take back control. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop blaming other people. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You realize that everything you want is on the other side of effort. Being hard on yourself forces you to confront the truth. It forces you to see where you're falling short, where you're holding back, where you're wasting time. And while that truth can be uncomfortable, it's also incredibly freeing. Because once you see the problem clearly, you can fix it. Most people stay stuck because they lie to themselves. They tell themselves they're doing enough when they're not. They convince themselves that their situation is out of their control when it isn't. But when you're brutally honest with yourself, you remove those illusions. You see exactly what needs to change. And that clarity gives you an edge. It's not about being negative. It's about being real. If you're not where you want to be, there's a reason. And being hard on yourself means you're willing to find that reason, face it, and do something about it. Maybe you're not disciplined enough. Maybe you're too easily distracted. Maybe you're afraid to take risks. Whatever it is, you don't ignore it, you attack it. That's how you grow. And here's the thing, nobody else is going to do this for you. Nobody else is going to push you as hard as you need to be pushed. People might support you, they might encourage you, but at the end of the day, the responsibility is yours. You have to be your own coach, your own critic, your own motivator. You have to be the person who says, I know I can do more. Because deep down, you already know. You know when you're giving your best, and you know when you're holding back. You don't need anyone else to tell you. You feel it. And that feeling, that quiet voice inside you, that's where your true standard lies. Being hard on yourself means you listen to that voice. You don't silence it with excuses or distractions. You let it challenge you. You let it push you. Because that's where your potential is hiding. The uncomfortable truth is that growth requires pressure. Just like muscles grow when they're pushed beyond their limits, your mind and character grow when you demand more from yourself. If everything feels easy, you're not growing. If everything feels comfortable, you're not evolving. Discomfort is a sign that you're doing something right. And being hard on yourself means you embrace that discomfort. You seek it out. You understand that it's part of the process, not something to avoid. It's waking up early when your bed feels too comfortable. It's staying focused when your phone is calling your attention. It's finishing what you started, even when you're tired of it. These small decisions, repeated every day, create a version of you that most people will never become. Because most people choose easy. But you don't have to. You can choose to be different. You can choose to raise your standards. You can choose to demand more from yourself than anyone else ever has. And when you do, something incredible happens. You start to trust yourself. Because every time you follow through on a commitment, every time you do what you said you would do, you build confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from words or motivation, but the kind that comes from proof. You prove to yourself that you're capable, that you're disciplined, that you're reliable, and that kind of confidence is unshakable. It doesn't disappear when things get hard. It doesn't fade when challenges show up. It gets stronger, because you know you can handle it. That's the real gift. Being hard on yourself doesn't just change your results, it changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries. You become someone who executes. You stop hoping for success. You start expecting it, because you've built the habits, the discipline, and the mindset to back it up. And once you reach that point, there's no going back. You don't want the easy path anymore. You don't want the comfortable life. Because you've experienced what it feels like to push yourself, to grow, to become more. And that feeling is addictive. So the next time you feel like taking it easy, remember this: comfort is temporary, but growth lasts forever. The next time you want to make an excuse, ask yourself if that excuse is worth the life you're giving up. And the next time you feel like you're being too hard on yourself, understand that you're not being harsh, you're being intentional. You're choosing to become better. You're choosing discipline over regret. You're choosing growth over stagnation. And that choice, repeated day after day, is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. So be hard on yourself, but do it with purpose. Do it because you believe in your potential. Do it because you refuse to settle for less than you're capable of. Do it because you know that the life you want is built through effort, consistency, and high standards. Because in the end, being hard on yourself isn't about making your life harder. It's about making your future stronger.